Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from StreetScores, and we have a few Washington Commanders rumors all centered around wide receivers right now. You have Deontay Johnson saying that he's frustrated out loud about what's going on in Carolina right now. You have a T. Higgins trade package provided by FanDuel. Of course, we're going to take a look at that and see whether we feel like it's worth it. Also, we're apparently on this Kupp list from Walter Football as teams that are more likely to trade for him. We're going to dive into all that and more, but before we do, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned for all of the content. I will be live streaming this upcoming game against the Bears, of course. Again, I feel like we're going to win, Jaden Daniels or not. But speaking of Jaden Daniels, of course, I'm going to keep y'all updated on this injury. Y'all are getting daily updates because we gave y'all one yesterday, as in Wednesday. We're going to do another one Thursday, and then we're also going to do another one Friday, and then the final update probably even Saturday and Sunday. So every day that the Commanders update his injury status, I, of course, will make sure I include it, even if it's at the end of like another video where we're talking about something else. So make sure you stay tuned. Without further ado, let's go and dive into this video. Let's get it. Adam. All right, so first of all, of course, I agree. I know most of y'all are probably watching this video like, don't we need edge rusher and corner more than we need wide receiver? And I definitely agree. I think those are bigger needs. But the reason that this video even makes sense is because we've already seen from trustworthy sources that the Washington Commanders feel like they need receiver. We've seen from trustworthy sources that we tried to sign Marquez Valdes-Scantling after the Bills cut him to make room on their cap space for the Amari Cooper contract after they traded for him from the Browns. But we tried to sign him. He ended up choosing the Saints over us. But clearly from the fact that we tried to sign him, instead of just going to get a random free agent veteran wide receiver that's just sitting on the couch right now, chilling and waiting to be called, or a receiver from a random practice squad, that means we're waiting for a certain caliber of receiver. That's what we're looking for. That's what Adam Peters is looking for. So again, I agree the edge rusher and corner are bigger needs, but the reason we're still talking about wide receiver is because Adam Peters himself clearly wants another receiver to add to this group. And again, not just any receiver, but a certain quality of receiver level wide. I mean, there were rumors that we were interested in Amari Cooper. There were trustworthy sources about the Marquez Valdes-Scantling thing. We've been linked from different websites that I'm not exactly sure how trustworthy they are to Deontay Johnson and other random receivers. And so there's a clear want here from the Washington Commanders. We'll see where this goes. So let's start with Deontay Johnson. Speaking of him, apparently after the game against us back on October 20th, after that huge loss that the Panthers took, that embarrassing loss they took, he had an interview in the locker room and he said that he's frustrated, but he said that he can't play every position on the field and make every play. So this is the sort of like rant where he's blaming his teammates. Like it's not frustrated just because we're losing. He's frustrated specifically because he feels like the guys around him aren't playing at a very high level and that basically the offense sucks and it's not my fault. I can't do everything type of rant. The exact quote was, quote, I mean, frustrated, but I can't play every position on the field and make every play. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's got to do their job when it comes down to it. So yeah, it's tough, but I got to tell myself to keep going regardless, unquote. And I know a lot of y'all play 2K. That's the type of answer you get when you press the selfish button. When you press the button that gives you more fans and more notoriety, but your team chemistry goes down. That was definitely that. So it sounds like not only is he ready to go, but if I'm the Commanders, the Panthers organization, I'm looking at him like, man, this is like a locker room cancer situation. I mean, you call out the rest of the teammates after an embarrassing loss like that. They're already frustrated. Then you're going to tell everybody that they're not doing their job, insinuating that you are, even though you only had one catch for 17 yards in that game. I'm pretty sure the other teammates are looking at him crazy. I'm pretty sure that team chemistry grade has plummeted. And so now it's kind of like you might as well get rid of them because these guys probably don't even trust each other anymore. They're probably not a brotherhood like they should be in the locker room. They probably already weren't with the fact that he was even willing to do this, but now that's confirmation to the outside world that Deontay Johnson does not rock with the Panthers and these players, because if he really rocked with them, he wouldn't call them out like that. He would give the typical political blank vanilla answer of we just got to be better. Like, we're still working at it. We just know this man said, I can't be everywhere. Don't look at me, look at them. Why? As the reason why we're sorry. It's them, not me. It's those sorry people over there, them other guys on this team. And so I just feel like that's over with.
I mean, frustrated, but I can't play every position on the field and make every play. You know what I'm saying? So everybody got to do their job when it comes down to it. So, but yeah, it's tough, but I just tell myself to keep going regardless.
Shouts out to Dean Jones over there with Rigo's Rag. He pointed out the fact that Johnson was a non-factor against the Commanders in Week 7, only bringing in 1 reception on 3 targets for 17 yards. Shouts out to Mike Saverstill for being the majority of the reason why Deontay Johnson was ineffective against us. Based on his comments after the game, which placed the blame squarely on his teammates, tensions are starting to build within a team going nowhere fast in 2024. He also goes on to say that the former 3rd-round pick out of Toledo was acquired via trade from the Pittsburgh Steelers this offseason. It didn't cost the Panthers anything more than just a late-round pick swap and veteran cornerback Deontay Johnson. But with Johnson out of the contract next spring and Carolina en route to yet another losing record, getting something back for a player who could leave for nothing in free agency should be considered. So at this point, excellent point from Dean Jones there, that you could probably get Deontay Johnson for a very late pick, because right now this season's over with. So by the time, best case scenario, the Panthers are even good next year, which I highly doubt happens at all. I don't see them being good anytime soon. But just even say best case scenario, because this season's already done. They're cooked this season. Best case scenario as a Panthers fan or a Panthers teammate, coach, front office guy, whatever, GM, owner. I mean, even though David Tepper doesn't deserve to win. But either way, best case scenario, say they're good somehow in 2025. He's not on the team anymore. So he's walked in free agency, and then maybe at best from there, if he gets a ridiculous contract, which I doubt he would get, maybe you get a 3rd-round compensatory pick, but I'm assuming they would probably at best get like a 6th-round compensatory pick. So why not go ahead and trade him for like a 6th or a 7th rounder right now to at least recoup some type of value for him, and not even chance, risking the whole compensatory pick formula? Because what if the Panthers go and pick up guys in free agency? That would cancel out Deontay Johnson. They wouldn't get that compensatory pick. It's not automatic. There's a formula to it. So if I'm the Panthers, honestly, not even just being a selfish Commanders fan that's just trying to legitimize trading for Deontay Johnson for cheap right now, I'm saying, like, actually from their point of view, what else are you gonna do? You're just gonna let him walk in free agency for free, and the only time you have him on your team is on this dead season after you just traded for him, and you had to even give away a player for him, and it's just kind of like, at least get some value back that you lost. The trade didn't work out. At least recoup some of the value from it, rather than just letting them walk for free and then banking on the fact that maybe you'll get a really late round compensatory pick in return. Why not just go ahead and get that guaranteed pick that won't be compensatory? Compensatory picks come at the end of rounds, and they come after other people's compensatory picks usually as well. You're not often going to just have the first compensatory pick, and even at best the first compensatory pick is the 33rd pick in that round, where if you trade for a 6th rounder straight up, it could be somewhere between 1 to 32. Now for ours, it's probably going to be, with the way we're winning right now, it's probably going to be like one of the late, like 20 something or early 30 something picks, hopefully, of that specific round. But either way, that's still higher than the compensatory pick. So I'm just providing the rationale as to why the Panthers, you would be better to just go ahead and trade this guy to a contender like the Commanders, or even another team, not even just as the Commanders' point of view, any team, and just recoup some of that value. But continuing with the article, much will depend on the compensation and whether the Commanders think Johnson is someone who can fit their improved culture. Now that's the big problem. The fact that he was willing to call out his teammates like that when things aren't going well probably automatically just took him off of Dan Quinn's list. Like, that rant alone is probably the reason we may not even trade for him. If he would have just kept his mouth shut and didn't complain and blame teammates and things like that, maybe we had a trade in the works. But I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Peters was on the phone with the Carolina Panthers, and then Dan Quinn saw that rant that he just had in the locker room after we beat him, and then just came and took the phone and hung up on him, or just ripped up whatever contract they were putting together. Continuing with the article, but from a pure talent perspective, perspective, there's a lot to like if the price is right. I completely agree. If they feel like that we wouldn't have to worry about that culture issue with him and him complaining about teammates because we're destined to win a lot, and he'll be able to buy in and not complain, and he'll make sure he'll give it his all, then maybe you don't even have to worry about it. Going back to the article again, Johnson remains one of the league's most polished route runners. I agree. He's created more separation per route than almost anybody, but the Panthers don't have the consistency needed under center to take advantage. That's not the case in Washington if Daniels makes a smooth recovery after getting a week-to-week projection on his rib injury. The Commanders also have enough spare cash next spring to offer Johnson a contract extension if he proves he's worth it. So that, I mean, if you're looking from Deontay Johnson's point of view, the Washington Commanders are the dream case scenario. Elite young quarterback still on his rookie deal. That's why one of the major reasons why we have enough cap space to pay him whatever money he really wants to get out of whatever next contract he's looking forward to. I mean, the quarterback that can get him the ball, the offensive line is getting better, the great front office that's building this team the right way, the culture, everything. The defense is only getting better. If I'm Deontay Johnson, please, I'm begging you to trade me to the Washington Commanders. But at this point, if he's willing to call out his teammates, I'm surprised he's not willing to just straight up demand a trade at this point, because there's no way you care about your public image right now if you're calling out teammates, and that's the only reason I can see him potentially not demanding a trade, because you're like, man, I don't want to cause any drama, I don't want to be a distraction to the team. He's already that, so why not go ahead and demand that trade right now? But we'll see. But then again, maybe if he demands a trade, maybe that'll make his trade value lower, so the Panthers are just telling him, we promise you, we'll get you out of here, but please don't go public about it, because that's only going to make it harder for both of us. But either way, continuing with the article, securing his services and playing him opposite of Terry McLaurin is mouth-watering as far as a proposition. Carolina might not sell, but it wouldn't cost Peters anything to call and find out one way or another. This is the time of year when potential contenders prey on weak franchises by trading for some of their top performers, especially for less value than they normally should go for. The Commanders were on the wrong side of this for years. Yes, we were. That's not the case now after a sensational opening to the 2024 campaign. Whether the results in the move for Johnson or anyone else is up for debate, but nothing can or should be completely ruled out with a fortnight remaining until the trade deadline. So Deontay Johnson, hey man, hey, hit up Adam Peters. If Adam Peters hasn't hit you up yet, how about you and your agent hit him up? Maybe we need to make something happen here to get Deontay Johnson for something probably really cheap, maybe like a 6th or a 7th rounder. I feel like you pulled the trigger on that. Now moving on to the next part of this video, of course you've been seeing the Cooper Kupp trade rumors and things like that. You know, Deanna Rossini reported that the Rams have called teams about Cooper Kupp. Like they've been reaching out to other teams. Like it's not other teams calling about Cooper Kupp. The Rams are calling other teams about Cooper Kupp, trying to get rid of him, and they're reportedly seeking a 2nd round pick, but they're also willing to give salary cap relief basically like if you trade for Cooper Kupp, the Rams are willing to pay him some of that cap hit for 2024 just to get rid of him. That's how bad they want him gone. And he's also healthy now, I believe. I think he's even going to play as soon as this upcoming game versus whoever they're playing against. I think they may even be playing tonight, Thursday night. But either way, he's healthy enough to play. So if you trade for him, you can expect him to play now. It's not a guy you're trading for him. You got to wait a couple of weeks. He's on IR or anything like that. Now he's good to go. But Walter Football wrote an article about this. He said, I don't know how many teams will want a 32-year-old receiver who may not work outside of Sean McVay's system, but there may be some takers. Here are some teams that could trade for Kupp. He listed the New York Jets, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Dallas Cowboys, the Philadelphia Eagles, and also, of course, the Washington Commanders. With the Washington, he provides an explanation for every team. For us, he said, Jaden Daniels is amazing play, has the Redskins as an unexpected Super Bowl contender. Washington needs a viable number 2 receiver to complement Terry McLaurin. You can make the argument that Noah Brown is that, and a lot of these other receivers on our team, like Luke McCaffrey's always open. He's only going to get better and start to get the ball more. Lamide contributes at a pretty decent pace. De'Ami Brown's getting better every week and everything. I love Noah Brown, but that's a guy you can't depend on health-wise for an entire season. So even though he is a pretty good wide receiver too, how often will he be available? You can't be a wide receiver too when you're on the injury report and you're just on the sideline sitting down without your shoulder pads and helmet even on. So I would still love to go get like a wide receiver too. I mean, imagine it from Cooper Kupp's point of view. Now, granted, last year he had Puka Nacua, so, you know, he got a little bit less defensive attention than he normally does. But, I mean, Terry McLaurin, and then Noah Brown, and then Cooper Kupp. I mean, what does a defense focus on stopping? Somebody is always open. It's literally just up to Jaden Daniels with his elite IQ and awareness to make sure he finds the right guy, to scan the defense pre-snap to kind of get an idea of who may be open before he even snaps the ball, and then the elite quick processing skills and ability that he has to find the right guy after the snap to see who actually. Somebody's always open. Between those three guys, somebody is open. You can't cover it all and stop our run game. But of course, the problem with Cooper Kupp is that second round pick. Now, maybe if we can get him for like one of those thirds, remember we have 2 thirds, and remember one of those thirds is the Dolphins pick that we got via the Philadelphia Eagles through the Jahan Dotson trade. And every week that the Dolphins keep losing, the better that third round pick looks. So maybe we could throw him that higher third round pick for Cooper Kupp, but I don't know, maybe a second is too rich for me, but that's just me personally. But we've been hearing some rumors now that maybe the Commanders are connected to Cooper Kupp, and again, like I mentioned earlier at the very beginning of this video, we definitely are interested in a receiver right now. Are we interested in sending a second round pick to Cooper Kupp? I wouldn't necessarily say that, but Adam Peters has shown through clear reports from inside sources that the Washington Commanders are looking for another receiver to add to this group, and like I mentioned earlier, it's not just any receiver. They're definitely looking for a certain caliber of talent, of skill receiver right now, especially bigger body guys, and Cooper Kupp provides you that bigger body. Deontay Johnson and Cooper Kupp are kind of bigger receivers, and you can tell that they definitely are looking for a certain type right now. Speaking of looking for a certain type, now, I have not necessarily heard the Commanders attached to T. Higgins right now, but it would be fun to theorize, like, I mean, is it possible? Does Adam Peters potentially want to get into a T. Higgins trade? Now, granted, the Bengals are already struggling to pay him right now, and like I already said, I don't think T. Higgins wants out of Cincinnati. See, for Deontay Johnson, he clearly doesn't want to be there with the Panthers. Cooper Kupp, the Rams don't want him. So either way, from both of those receivers, both teams, it's either the team or the player that wants out of their situation right now. Whereas T. Higgins, I feel like he's willing to stay with the Bengals. He just wants his money, and the Bengals want him as well. So out of all of the 3 receivers that we're talking about in this video, T. Higgins is the only one that probably has some mutual interest between him and his team right now. They're just not close on contract numbers. But if they were to ever find a way to get the contract numbers to where T. Higgins would like it, he'll probably just end up re-signing long-term and staying. But if they can't, I'm pretty sure he's more than willing to test free agency, and the Bengals get to a point where they realize, man, first of all, this season isn't going as well as we hoped, and we're not going to be able to make it the playoffs, so we probably should go ahead and try to be sellers before the trade deadline, and especially for a guy like T. Higgins, who, if he walks after this season, I mean, maybe we'll get a compensatory pick, but we just already talked about that earlier. How about we go ahead and trade him for guaranteed value before this trade deadline, before the ship starts sinking and things like that? So that is a possibility. The only problem is, are the Commanders willing to trade for him and then pay him ridiculous money? Because out of all of the 3 receivers that we talked about in this video, especially because Cooper Kupp's contract is good, you know, I already did a full dive into his contract a couple of videos ago, I think yesterday or something like that. At this point, I've done so many videos the past few days, I've lost track of what I've done and when I did it. But either way, Cooper Kupp's contract is set up to where he's not even making a lot of money over the next couple of years, and even so, the Rams are willing to eat up some of the 2024 cap space, and then 2025 and 2026, you have an out. Like, if Cooper Kupp for some reason doesn't work out, he's hurt or whatever, you have a way to get out of his contract and not have to owe him a lot of money, dead cap wise, cap hit wise, and things like that. And then Deontay Johnson's probably not going to be that expensive either. T. Higgins is going to be pretty expensive, just to warn you. But either way, FanDuel put together an entire trade package scenario that they feel like is realistic for them. If you look on the screen right now, they said we get T. Higgins, they get a 2025 second round pick, a 2026 third round pick, and cornerback Emmanuel Forbes Jr. And just to let you know, off rip, that's too much for me. I really like T. Higgins, but the problem is not only are you having to give up that much trade value, which I'm already not really comfortable with. Now, Emmanuel Forbes, cool, even though I'm still rooting for him to be great. If you got to include Emmanuel Forbes in the deal to make it work, go ahead and do that. But a 2025 second and a 2025 third, I don't know about that. I'm not really feeling that much value for a guy that you're gonna have to pay immediately, and you're gonna have to pay him bigger money than you will have to pay Cooper Kupp and Deontay Johnson, because Deontay Johnson, this is the last year of his contract as well, but he's not going to go anywhere near for as much money as T. Higgins is going for. And again, Cooper Kupp's numbers right now are actually pretty team friendly, fairly, especially for the level of talent that he has. T. Higgins is going to end up costing you more than any of the other receivers that we've talked about in this video on a per contract basis, especially because his contract's about to end and he's going for big big money, which is why the Bengals are struggling to pay him right now, which is why he's even included in trade rumors right now, because teams struggle to pay him with their current cap space situations. And even though we do have a lot of cap space, I'm just not sure if it's worth it to pay him top receiver money, and you have to give up a second and a third round pick to do so. I just don't really agree with that one, man. Me personally, that's just way too rich for my taste, but that is an interesting trade scenario. Of course, I want to know how y'all feel about this trade especially. Would you do it or would you not do it? Why and why not? But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please still farm that like button, still farm the subscription button, still farm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. Really appreciate y'all, of course, especially for a video like this. Let me know how you feel about all 3 wide receiver scenarios. Do you feel like any of them are realistic? Do you feel like we should make the trade for any of these guys, Deontay Johnson, Cooper Kupp, and T. Higgins? And just based off of all of the information I provided you, potentially Deontay Johnson, not too rich of a contract, and probably you can even get him for like a 6th or a 7th round pick, versus Cooper Kupp, 2nd round pick, being paid more than what Deontay Johnson would get, but a more proven player, even though he's been injury prone? Or would you prefer T. Higgins, who fairly injury prone as well, is going to cost you the most trade value wise and contract wise as well after you trade for him? Let me know which of the 3 you prefer to get, or if you're just the type of person that doesn't want either of the 3, or if you're the type of person that wants all 3, you're cool with either one, you just want receiver help that bad. Let me know exactly how y'all feel in the comment section of this video. I'm gonna try my best to read and reply to as many comments as possible, and of course, do not leave this video without leaving a like. I really appreciate y'all. Make sure you still farm that like button, still farm the subscription button, and the bell next to it. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Appreciate y'all. I'm out.